Wait a minute. God damn it, that's the wrong song.
Brother, are you all right?
No, I am not all right. I just shared a bottle of Kanar with Damar. That rhymes.
You're drunk.
Of course I'm drunk.
I swear to dog I'm not drunk yet, but maybe later. Welcome, everyone. We're here. Yeah, that's what we are. We're here. It's been, yeah. Some things have happened. Some shows have been released. And we just might end up talking about them. Who knows? This is going to be one of those more free-form, relaxed, just come what may type of weeks. And yes, Nikki, I know you heard. I goofed. I pressed the wrong button. I really did. I mean, I didn't mean to, but I did.
Bullshit!
I mean, I can only do so much with certain audio bits. So I'm trying to play nice and be kind to others, but it didn't exactly work.
Well, how about I try and get you in trouble with the mouse?
Oh no, what are you going to do this time?
Hold on, I gotta get it loaded up first.
I thought just 3 letters was enough of that.
Oh, come on, Laura. Why don't you believe me? I mean, I would never intentionally have an audio gaffe that lines up directly with the title of the show. I would never do such a thing.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Alright, you ready?
Yep.
I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt. And guess what's inside it?
Not sci-fi, but I thought it would be worth it.
You know, for all that Johnny Depp has done professionally, is there a role that he was better suited for than Captain Jack Sparrow?
No.
I don't think so either. I can't think of one where...
I haven't seen Sweeney Todd, but I heard he was really good in that one.
He was good, but for the way his portrayal meshed with the character, I would still put Captain Jack Sparrow above it.
I think we have to say that it had to be at that moment in his life. Before or after that, it wouldn't really have had the same impact.
Yeah, I can agree with that because he just brought... From what I have heard, Depp is, for most roles, a very method, but not entirely method actor.
A
So
modified method
yeah,
of
because
data.
yeah, you could go with that because during the press and everything after the first Pirates of the Caribbean was released, there were interviews done where both Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley said that their reactions when being up close with Johnny Depp were not faked. He really went all out and just reeked of rum. So a lot of their visual disgust when they first met the character, that was genuine reactions.
Well, I'm sure it was.
How much of that was getting into the role, though, and how much was preparing for potentially meeting his wife afterwards?
I would say one feeding into the other because let's look at arguably the best bordering method portrayal of a character with Heath Ledger as the Joker. You get so into a character that it messes with you otherwise. And I think that's kind of what happened with Depp, is that he...
I was going to say Jim Carrey with Man on the Moon, where he played Andy...
Kaufman?
Yeah, Andy Kaufman. Because Jerry Lawler... I don't know if you remember this, Jerry, but Jerry Lawler actually punched and beat the crap out of Jim Carrey on the set because he knew Andy Kaufman, and Carrey was trying to say he was Kaufman. You know what I mean? And Lawler wasn't having any of that.
Oh, really sticking it as being in character, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is some of your better actors have that level of intensity. I mean, I can't think of another word to describe it as, because in order to dive into a role with that level of fervor, that much tenacity, and that level of dedication, there's a reason why if you are a professional actor, you have a therapist on call. Because you fucking need it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when Gary Oldman actually had to get a speech therapist in order to get his original accent back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them, they play certain roles and certain character types that they lose parts of themselves. Actually, this is one of the things that I am thankful and was lucky for. My freshman year of high school, I was at one of... let's just say it's actually a very well-known academic high school in New England due to age and prestige. We had a teacher there of the drama, theater, and also helped in the music departments. He was friends with Dustin Hoffman. And he was one of those who actually confirmed a lot of the stories of Dustin Hoffman's offstage preparation and how he handled things. So he was hanging out with Hoffman before filming of Rain Man started. And Hoffman was already getting into the role and working on the character out at restaurants in New York City and just on his own to get the mannerisms, to have them come off natural, to have them actually fit the character that he was finishing developing for that movie. So with that, you get into that whole, when you delve into a character that is unlike yourself, it is very easy to continue to talk about the character. Like an actor would be asked, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Oh, well, it's great. I'm working on this character." And it's like, no. Not that. How are you doing? And that really struck me in how apart from yourself to be successful in that sphere of things, you have to be. You almost have to be a full-on schizophrenic to actually pull it off, to where who you are, who your core personality is, can be set aside for this character that you're portraying. And I think that's why a lot of actors actually end up being typecast and pigeonholed into certain types of roles, because Ryan Reynolds, prime fucking example. You can see the same mannerisms, delivery, and personality traits across the 90% of the roles that he has played. And that is him melding into the role. Not just what the character is or what the role is. That is him putting his personality into it.
Is this also why you have so many actors and actresses, etc., who are, how to put a fine point to it, he's stupid as all fucking hell and reactionary?
Yeah, well, there's that, but here's where I get frustrated with that presentation of how a lot of actors and actresses behave off script. I don't even want to say on camera, because it's caught on camera, but they're not in an actual prepared character for a movie. When they are supposed to be being themselves, they come off as rather ignorant, which is really frustrating, because first-hand experience, in order to portray another character adequately, not even well, just simply adequately, you do have to be an intelligent person. Like, let's take Amanda Seyfried as an example. She plays an amazing, stupid blonde on camera. But playing a stupid character well, in a humorous way, actually takes a lot of intelligence to do. And she actually does test high on IQ and other intelligence tests. Amanda Seyfried is a very, very intelligent woman. Yet she plays the stereotypical dumb blonde exceptionally well. Iconoclasm. If you know how to get a hold of either of them, I'd be welcome to have them on. I mean, this week really is more a free-form, relaxed kind of thing, so we're just talking about whatever, and we just happened to end up down this rabbit hole.
Not like I have a jar of dirt or anything.
True. We can't blame you for this one.
Otherwise, though, you do have the actors and actresses who are... they might be intelligent, but they're thick as a fucking brick. As in, they might be intelligent in some manners, but they can't put two and two together to save their fucking life. And they would rather do something that's populistic or something that's a net gain when it comes to just popularity, even though it's something that will shoot them in the foot later.
Yeah, because I kind of get it, though. Because when you think of it as a public image, as a celebrity, as an actor, actress, or someone in that showbiz industry, how you come off is your brand, and your brand directly affects your profitability and how much you can actually make and actually survive doing what you are attempting and striving to do. So I can see where a lot of intelligent people will err towards the side of populism to keep said populace on their side and buying what they're selling. But They should know better. I agree. They should fucking know better. They are smart enough to be able to... that they should be able to evaluate the situation and make the correct choice, which may not be the popular choice.
You mean like maybe not try to stay friends with someone who assaulted in a certain manner a 14-year-old and then try to claim that it wasn't rape, rather it was something else.
Yeah, you have that bit to it, and that face said something even more stupid in the last, what was it, month? And yet was still brought on to another show because, hey, gotta play them member berries.
Yeah.
Yeah, from comments that in articles that I've read and video commentary that I've heard, there are two people that, by their political stances alone, I do not want anywhere near a democratic process. And that is Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey.
I just don't trust them at all.
And that's exactly why I don't want them near the process. As a voter or as a candidate. Because people have floated the idea of Oprah running for office, and I'm like, ooh, no. Have you heard some of the things that she has advocated for? Yeah, see, even the dog gets it.
Yeah, the horses decided to run by. So
Damn horse.
horses.
Close enough. It's all plural.
Wait, are they truly equine or are they equine sapiens?
No, they're true equines.
Oh, which... All right. So this past Wednesday, I missed out on the movie on the Discord server because, well, the wife and I watched something else that I was pleasantly surprised with.
Did you watch Black Beauty?
No. No. I mentioned it to you, Leon. Have you had a chance to even just take a look at it yet?
A chance, yes. But I fucking forgot about it.
Yeah. So the name of the movie is Sorry to Bother You. It is actually a sci-fi movie. It's a different type of sci-fi, but I really liked it. The way it was done, the way it was handled, and the twists in the story, the turns that the story took as it was going along, I was entertained by it. I will say that the major twist of it, I did see happen immediate. I saw it coming, but it didn't happen right away. It wasn't a rushed cause and effect. There was actually delay. There were other things that were happening. There was a bit more realism in the pacing of those things.
Now I understand why. I went to IMDb and looked at the characters, and Forrest Whitaker, and I see the character name First Equine Sapien.
That was Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah,
Holy...
Demarius.
I did see, and this is why I think you're gonna love watching it, Leon, is practical effects everywhere possible.
Yeah, I miss those.
And they came off to where you could recognize that they were practical effects, but they were still done in a way that they were just cheesy enough to fit the genre and the air of the movie. Because there were a bunch of little things that were happening during the movie that they took some creative license on how they were showing things, and it was weird is a very generic way to describe it, but an accurate way to describe it. Because there were certain things that happened that just kind of were unexpected. And every now, like the first few times it happened, it kind of gets you. But it fits in with everything else in the movie.
It had me with Terry Crews and Danny Glover. And then you throw in David Cross and Patton Oswalt.
Oh, some of the names, they don't show up on screen. It's just their voices.
I know.
And the reason for that, okay. So, let's just say they take an aspect from a Dave Chappelle stand-up routine and turn it up to 11 and actually do an amazing job with it.
They managed to make a lot of people just pissed off, even though they haven't seen the routine.
No, actually, it's not even in that sort of way. So, hang on. I'm going to put the spoiler alert icon up because in order for this to be understood, this is a detail that it won't ruin the story, but if you weren't aware of it going into it, it's another one of those shock value things that, unfortunately, for it to be understood, I kind of have to ruin it a little bit. So if you don't want to know this detail, go ahead and mute the stream for the next 30 seconds. I'll give you 3, 2, 1.
I got a Jordan. I got a Jordan.
All right.
What's inside it?
All right. So, white voice is a thing. And they use Patton Oswalt and a few other people as the white voice that certain African-American characters are doing. And the way the voiceover works, it's creepy, yet hilarious.
Well, nowadays with digital video editors, it's not hard to actually sync up voiceover.
No, it's not. And they do it. You guys have to watch this movie.
Didn't Patton Oswalt do some fucking stupid shit too, though?
Who doesn't in Hollywood?
Most of them. That's why I'm not really interested in Hollywood anymore.
I mean, what level of stupid shit are you referring to? Because that is such a general term, and yeah, it fits so many people in that profession that it really doesn't mean anything like it used to or it should.
Let me see if I can actually find it here. Where's the shit going on?
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to hop over to Twitter to see if I can actually track down the person that Intellectual Iconoclasm suggested. Oh, fuck. I check my notifications on Twitter, and someone a little while ago, in reference to a question I asked Geistview about which God Emperor, someone responded with a picture of Emperor Ming.
Okay, this I gotta see.
I'm bored, Titus.
What plays have you offered me today?
The thing was him essentially selling out Dave Chappelle.
Really?
That's yeah.
Social side. All right. interesting tagline there on the Twitter profile.
Ooh, Fluffenbaum and his fluffers.
No, Aiden Paladin.
Oh, Aiden?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at hers in a while. Yeah, no, that. If you've seen her, you will. If you've seen actual images of her, you would understand.
I have not.
Let's see if I can work some Google foo.
Let's see. Okay, here's part of it. Here's another part of it. The story pretty much be, and I can't say that I have the entire story here, but essentially, he started throwing up a lot of fucking fuss over the whole thing with Dave Chappelle's The Closer, when it was in regards to trans people, etc., and all that shit. Essentially, trying his fucking hardest to virtue signal.
There you go.
So, we're doing works now?
Interesting.
Can you bring up that last picture again?
Hold on.
All right, and DM sent. We will see if she responds. Not going to hold my breath. I mean, I will admit it is kind of a random thing coming from me, but hey.
Yep.
So the message that I sent for transparency's sake is, afternoon, I was suggested to invite you onto a panel by Intellectual Iconoclasm. We have been talking about media / Hollywood / actors in general, and touched upon method acting and how it can damage a person psychologically.
Yeah,
Oh.
that works.
Yeah.
No, I was just looking at that picture, and the angle with the eyes made it look like someone used one of those, you know, when you kind of pinch
Yeah.
a picture in just one place, one of those effects.
Yeah. No, if she actually, a lot of like her promos where it's like doing stuff at her computer or whatever she does herself. So.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see when the answer pops up.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing is, Twitter DMs are some of the few things that actually alert on my phone consistently.
On the right side, they work. On the other side, it's Twitter.
Yeah. And those who actually keep an eye out and observe who does what on what platforms enough, I think if we were to average it out, I think I maybe post on Twitter less than once a day. I mean, I will go weeks without actually interacting or doing anything on there. Which, if you don't have that fortitude and you don't actually do that yourself every now and then, I highly suggest trying it because, oh boy, is it freeing.
You mean because Twitter's fucking cancer?
Social
And the further
media.
away from it you are, the better.
Social media in general is a problem. Twitter is just one example of it. And
I've actually found distancing myself recently from most social media that is toxic has been liberating.
yeah, I mean, when you think about the grand scheme of it, there are people who invest too much of their own time and energy into platforms like that and then start complaining about it and start fixating on it and start obsessing about how things are going there. And it really does become a detriment to their actual life away from the computer screen. Similar to the people who end up overly obsessed with celebrities and actresses. it really pulls into question of why are you investing so much of your time and energy into these when it's never going to work.
The one ring to rule them all.
But can you really call a Funyun a ring?
No, it looks like a wedding band in that picture. You know, it's thinner at the bottom, thicker at the top.
That's just called missing leg day.
But are you really missing it or just ignorantly avoiding it?
I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of figure you want.
This is true. That is actually a very valid point. I mean, some people do try to go for the triangle effect. It's just...
They reverse the triangle?
No, they have the triangle pointed down. It's just they completely ignore the actual base that's supposed to be carrying it. It's kind of like, oh, Jay, I know you saw these people on the boat where by the end of a deployment, they would be even worse than a poor caricature drawing of Popeye, where they're all arms and just a fucking twig body. Oh yeah, not kidding, Leon. There are people who will work out daily during a 3 to 7 month long deployment, and they will only work out arms and shoulders. Maybe chest.
I take it that those are the straight ones.
They like to act like they're straight.
Yeah. Speaking of which, since I have just gotten this brain cancer, you are getting it too. Going through my timeline.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know. Oh my god, I thought this was a meme until I noticed she posted it herself.
I mean, maybe you shouldn't be talking about cults when you have no life behind your eyes.
Oh, not just that. Not just that. The post that I saw that was referencing that earlier today was someone making mention of a video clip that's still out there of her and her husband on video during a live stream admitting, oh yeah, we faked being Christians for about 1.5 years just because we were going through a rough time and wanted to use them for financial support.
In all fairness, though, that's a lot of pastors and shit like that, too.
The pastors are at least there as... Don't be confused. Someone who goes into the clergy, there is a financial component to it. They are doing it as a job in addition to everything else that they claim. Don't let them tell you otherwise. But at least there's that other side of it beyond the financial that they're doing it for. In most cases, you can trust them to. In other instances, there's that additional reason for it that I agree with. You should look at them sideways. Yes, I'm looking at you, Catholic Church.
Oh, don't worry. They won't notice you. There's too many young boys about.
And that's exactly it. There's a reason why on Quiplash we so often make Vatican and pedo jokes. Because there's fucking truth to it.
They kind of go hand in hand, won't you say?
Well, there's certainly something in the hand.
No, seriously. When it comes to a lot of the stuff here too now, when it comes to, say, for example, priests, clergymen, etc., and those who are non-educated, those who take it upon themselves, or shit like, Jehovah's and all that fucking bullshit. When it comes to all that, you do have a lot of incentives for different fucking things. And I'd say it's a very rare thing to actually see someone of the clergy who is doing it for themselves. Rather, doing it for themselves and admitting to doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's way easier to say, I'm doing this because I want to save you. Well, why the fuck should you care? It's not your job to care. Care about taking care of yourself. Be a good role model. Don't diddle kids. Don't be a Jehovah's Witness.
We could really dive down this rabbit hole, but I think we could have more fun with that topic on the show after this one, because
Yeah.
Oh, but that actually ties in very well to this because of Kai Wynn.
Ooh,
Kai Wynn is
yeah.
a perfect example of that. Claiming to care about everyone else, but the only one that she's really looking out for is number one. I care about the Bajorans, I care about the faith, I care about our religion, I care about the prophets, I care about the emissary.
And yet this is a character that actually admitted, without outright blatantly admitting, to being jealous of Kira Nerys, because Kira had an orb experience and had a direct experience with the prophets, and Kai and Wynn, as the Kai, didn't have the same level of faith as her. And not just didn't have the same level of faith as Nerys, but didn't have the same level of faith as an off-worlder, as Cisco him fucking self. Cisco was willing to sacrifice his own son during the fight between the prophets and the Pa-Wraith that were using the bodies of Kira and Jake as their vessels on DS9. Cisco was willing to let it happen, knowing what could happen to Jake. And the Kai fucked it all up.
Well,
That's
what else is to be expected?
And with that, though, and here's something I really have to bring it up because it fits in so well. Jared, do you remember a couple of weeks ago now, or 2 weeks might have been, where I told you guys about a woman that appeared on the Swedish TV show The Farm?
Ah, yes.
A woman who looked like Kai Wynn. And not just looked like her, she acted like Kai Wynn in the whole, I am so much better than you are. I care about this, I care about that, I know, but I know so much that you don't know. You should really listen to me because I am so much better at this than you are. And try to act like, oh, she was so defenseless and everything. Including claiming to have a hand injury in which she didn't really have any strength in one of her hands due to, well, I think one of the things was a snake bite, and then something else happened to the hand as well.
So she bit herself?
Close enough. Well, it ended up with a contest where the contest was to take 2 milk pails, each weighing, 15 kilograms, lifting them, and then holding them. She just had a helmet to her sides, nothing else. And she had a fucking iron grip on the milk pails. The other contestant was, holding on up until, 7 minutes-ish? And then she dropped them. The moment that the other contestant dropped them, this woman, the Kai Wynn look-alike, lifted the fucking milk pails and threw them onto the ground.
After claiming to have had a hand injury.
Yes. And claiming to have such a weak hand and she couldn't move her finger well and all that shit.
Well, if this is a game show, I will give her that aspect of her gaming the other contestants, but
But she
holy
wasn't gaming
shit.
though. She couldn't even pretend to be struggling. She was boasting about not being as weak as the others thought. Yeah, she a stupid hoe.
Yeah, there is one thing about setting an expectation and knowing how to mitigate, manage, and leverage those situations. And I kind of got to look at the other. Wait a minute. This game show, this situation. Who is it that's actually in control of who gets booted off and who doesn't? Is it like Survivor, where it's the people in the game that vote, or
It's the
is it
people.
audience voting?
It's people in the game. But the way it works is that you have, well, it's set on a farm, so you have a main farmer. The main farmer then selects one person to be a contestant.
Mm-hmm.
That contestant, in turn, selects another person to be their opponent, and that opponent, in turn, chooses the thing that they're supposed to compete in, and then the loser of that is the one that gets just booted off the show, and the winner of that is the person who, rather, the loser of that then writes a letter as they exit and appoints the new main farmer or head farmer.
So I'm wondering how she got away with doing stuff like that to multiple people, or was it a?
There's two main reasons. The first one being that, oh yeah, but she's so weak. Oh, but she's so smart, and she tries to really put up this image of herself as being both really fucking weak and still knowing so many things, being so smart and clever and knowing everything like that.
Oh, you mean
So
like
she
when she
manages to
fucked up
fly
the
under the
plumbing?
radar. Say again?
You mean like when she fucked up the plumbing?
Yeah, pretty much. And at the same time, she's a woman. And this year, they had essentially a main push to only have women there. At the end now, before they added back some of the old contestants, there were, I think it was 5 or 6 women and 1 man. So the main push had been to just eliminate as many men as possible, while not seeing her as a threat. So instead of just booting her off, since she's not a threat anyway, might as well make sure that she isn't here. She just flew on the radar. She was not really immune, but she was just overlooked.
Sounds like a great strategy she had.
Yeah.
Well, had she not been a dumb motherfucker about it.
Yeah, no.
But that's something where, had she been trying to attempt to make it look like she actually struggled, holding milk pails, shaking, making it look like she didn't actually have a fucking iron grip on them, and then not gloating and boasting afterwards, she might still be in the competition. But she lost. She done fucked up. But that's really something. I really wish that more people could actually understand Swedish just to be able to see her and what she did. See if I can find a picture of her, because she is a bit too close to Kai when to cut for comfort to me.
Oh, fuck.
Both for her, but she really looks like the one on the left.
All right, hold on. I'm saving the other one for veterans.
And with this one, it's only the one on the left that's actually her.
Yeah, here. I'll use that one instead. It blows up bigger. Giggity.
Where? Put the fucking Kai outfit on her.
Yeah. Can see it.
Yeah, but you don't have to look like one of the most hated antagonists ever, and then act like it.
Well, yes, you do.
There's a whole thing about judging a book by its cover and how oftentimes you can be wrong and end up misjudging. That's one of those instances where, sorry, you look like a shitbag, you're acting like a shitbag. What are you... How am I supposed to evaluate you as anything but a shitbag? Like, I'll admit, I don't know how the actress who played Kai Wynn actually is as a person when they are not on air, when they're not in front of a camera playing that type of character. I don't know, but holy hell does she play a convincing asshat.
She's really.
She must have been married to a chief. So here's one for you, Jared. We can talk about it on veterans, but now, mind you, this is a senator that Micro is responding or quote tweeting.
But daylight.
Oh, do you read the comment down below? Gonna disagree with you on this one. DST is better.
You know, it's.
I didn't even see it's your senator too.
Wait a minute. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Who is this moron?
Oh,
I know he's our moron.
it's. I can confidently say that I did not vote for that senator. Because I did not recognize the fucking name. But holy... Here's the thing. It's just,
Well, he's
yeah.
the junior senator, and he's a Democrat.
Yeah. When was the last time this state had a Republican senator?
I think before the Revolutionary War.
Oh, here's the thing with the whole daylight savings versus standard time. I don't fucking care which, just fucking pick one.
Yeah.
If we're gonna stop changing the clocks, one, it's gonna have to be a global agreement that every country is then on board with, so we can stop having the fucking problems and changes. Because as it stands right now, the U.S. changes what, a week different than everyone else?
Yeah, I think we would change a week before the UK and then a week after in the fall.
And every fucking year, it fucks up entertainment nights.
Yeah, just pick one. Are you going to shortchange the... Well, you're not really shortchanging the number of daylight hours. It's just, are you going to slot back the winter time hours and then keep everything the same there? Or are you going to let the winter be the fucked up daylight hours, which, shocking, it already is because of the shortened daytime hours that you get in the winter anyways. I'm one of those people that even with the time change, I'm going to work in the dark and I'm getting home and it's dark for most of the winter. So it really doesn't bother me any on the time change. So just fucking pick one. And if you have that hair up your ass that you want to do something about it, okay, just pick one. I mean, stick with standard time. Why stick with DST? I mean, we started with standard time and had it for how long?
Yep.
So just fucking go back to that as the standard the entire time.
I bet that this is a ploy by the insurance companies to make sure that you have the most amount of people driving against the sunlight, whether it be, in the morning or in the afternoon,
That was not what I was
so that they can capitalize on the injuries and accidents.
That's what I was trying to send.
Wait a minute. Is that what I think it is, Leon? It is.
Yes, it is. A thermal detonator. Which they never got right in the fucking movies afterwards either.
No, of course not.
Which is just sad. I remember, in those, what are they called? Kind of flat things that made out of wood. Books, that's the one. Where they actually describe the thermal detonators. And one of the main things about the thermal detonators was that they are really fucking effective or completely and utterly fucking useless. All of that due to them having a set range. That is, if you have a range of, or say that you have a blast bubble with a range of, or diameter of 4 meters, if you're 4.01 meters away, as in 1 centimeter out of the blast zone, you're going to be safe. Completely safe. Anything inside of it, obliterated.
So you have a hard drop off on its actual effective area.
Yeah. It's kind of like, you remember the grenades in Worms?
Ah, yes.
It's like that.
Speaking of which, I have Worms Armageddon. I still haven't gotten used to the controls of it because I played it 2 or 3 times off air to try to get back into it, but then never went back to it. Surprising. It's almost like I have other shit going on in life that takes up time.
Having things to do? Nah. No. I have to say, though, when it comes to actually following your core material or following the rules being set up that actually make a lick of sense, there's very few franchises right now that actually do it right.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is if you're going to be a hard sci-fi, as in a this is the way things work kind of sci-fi franchise, you need that consistency. And that was actually something that a while back, I think it was Athens who posted something from Sacred Cow, and that's what he brought it up. And I completely agree with it. If you're going to set a framework for your sci-fi universe, you need to stick with that framework. And of course I go back to fucking midichlorians.
With that though, and maybe as well, it can turn into a long fucking tangent. With sci-fi, and especially hard sci-fi, should adult themes be the standard rather than just the obscure part of it? And I don't just mean, oh yeah, should there be nudity? No, I mean, should there be complex adult themes that actually require some form of both experience and understanding that you don't really have as a kid?
I think
Or
it
even
should not be avoided. It's one of those where I will say that it doesn't have to be a necessity, but don't leave it off the table. It's an option that they should not be afraid of, unless they are making a franchise that is specifically targeted for a younger audience.
Are we talking about Prodigy now?
Kinda in a tangential way. Like, when you look at a lot of sci-fi that is supposed to be young adult and adult in nature, you also find some of those references in fucking kids shows, especially cartoons.
This is something that actually came to mind just listening to shit the other day, where someone was mentioning, it was nudity in some sci-fi franchise. I can't remember which one it was now. And the thought just came to mind with the whole thing of actually having adult themes. DS9 had a lot of adult themes where it had real world consequences for the characters of things that might have been just joked about and never mentioned again in other shows. Things like the actual repercussions of, say, a war, or the actual repercussions of a complete change in the or in the social dynamic of, say, for example, an interspecies relationship, not necessarily even a loved one, but something like Garrick and Bashir, or anyone else of that sort.
Or even just look at the changes and what happened with the Dax symbiote going from Jadzia to Ezri.
Yeah. The things that are actually real world things that need to be taken into account, but something that's it's usually not brought up, because even in hard sci-fi you have it on a very base level, a very surface level, where you don't really get into the nitty gritty. It more focuses on, say, the technology, or it focuses on certain aspects of it, but it doesn't actually involve the characters. The characters are just there to have someone to say the shit.
Yeah. And it really is tough to actually address the interpersonal and those the character driven aspects of it without it coming off as preachy or condescending or mismanaged. Not that it can't be done, it's just it is difficult just as a writer, let alone a director and actor, to do that sort of subject material in any setting, let alone sci-fi, and do it well, which is why it's actually surprising and enjoyable when you come across a combination that does it right, that does handle it well. And that's what makes it more infuriating when you have a franchise that has it in their past and in their lineage of handling those things appropriately, and then the later iterations just completely shitting all over it.
Now, that's something where, even looking at the original Star Wars trilogy, you had things in that which aren't really brought up today anyway. You have the relationship between, well, first and foremost, Han, Leia, and Luke, which it might have gotten tense a few bits, before all the pieces got into place.
You also had bits that were just weird looking back on them.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's something where they actually learn from it. It's something where once they actually found out about it, they had to deal with it. They had to deal with the differences. They had to deal with him wanting to bang his sister, but they had to deal with all these things and actually still make it so that they were working together. It wasn't something where, oh yeah, so you want to shag your sister? Well, either you piss off or you can just move to Alabama. They made it so that it was actually part of what they had to figure out. They made it so that you had a dynamic between them. You don't really see that now. Even in the newer Star Wars movies, you don't have that dynamic between any of the characters.
You don't have a lot of character development at all in the newer Star Wars movies. Not just you don't have the character dynamics, you don't have character development or establishment at all. Let alone consistent handling of the characters.
Yeah, that's something which it would have been so easy to change some of the characters to actually have some kind of, growth or something that made the characters and not just paper cutouts to be moved wherever some child wanted them because it was cool at the time.
Where you have actual people, not plot devices.
Yeah. That's something, okay, say Finn. And I just love racking down on the whole fucking concept of Finn. Not because of Jon Boyega, but because how they just mishandled it. How they took that character and just fucked him over greatly. You have a stormtrooper that's been indoctrinated from he was a child, who broke his condition or just got broken for one reason or another, and then has a chance to actually escape all of this. You had so many opportunities. You could have gone anywhere with him. And what you do? You put him in a plastic suit that shot water everywhere to make him a fucking joke.
Yeah, they had the establishment that they were starting with in The Force Awakens was actually a great potential storytelling arc of, hey, let's start and look at things from the inside of the Imperial remnants. Only to fucking push fast forward through that potential storyline to jump to another storyline and just completely fucking ignore what they had already started to open the door to that had promise. Because here's the thing, and this is where I will lambast J.J. Abrams. The guy has lost the ability, pun intended, to write an original story. Look at his work lately. What has it been? Reboots of existing franchises where he takes existing material and tweaks it and re-releases it. Because after that first 15 minutes or so of The Force Awakens, it became A New Hope 2.0.
Just with no soul.
Yeah. And then he did a similar thing with Star Trek. After he got Star Trek, he did a passable okay, let's get them onto the Enterprise, given the circumstances that they set up of the new timeline and everything. And then he was still part of the creative team that wrote Into Darkness. And it was a rewrite of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And a bit of Space Seed.
Well, you have to understand that Hollywood doesn't care about original stories anymore. They just want to recash it on the great stories that they hold IPs for. So why not just? I mean, look at what Disney's doing with all the Renaissance movies of Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan, all that. They're making them but live action, and they're flopping because nobody wants to see that. They'd rather watch the classics they know.
You mean the classics that are actually entertaining?
Mm-hmm.
Because...
where you don't have to know, oh, well, that's CGI, and kind of pull yourself out of the storytelling.
Well, and that is one thing... The decision to go live action with Aladdin... there's too
kind
much...
of makes sense. I mean, it makes sense in that you could. It's a mostly human cast to begin with, as far as the characters.
Yeah, you don't have the anthropomorphized animal characters that are talking English. You have Abu, who is literally squawking and chirping like a monkey would. So at least there's that. And the Rug is using body language and physical expression to communicate, not verbal communication. So that's not the part that I saw being the problem. The problem was the casting. Specifically, Will Smith as the genie.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Oh, I know. Name recognition. They're trying to market and bank off of his star power to bring in the money to actually try to get as close as possible to ensure that the movie didn't lose compared to its actual budget. But here's the thing. Any person who goes into the role of genie in any sort of media that requires an actor has one hell of a mantle to hold up because of what Robin Williams did with that character.
There's a reason why the follow-up movies and the TV show didn't last. When Disney was trying to cash in on all the success Aladdin had with their straight to VHS movies and stuff.
Although Robin did return for one of those sequel movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the second one, it wasn't Robin. The TV series, it wasn't Robin. And it lost that little bit of something. The character was still very similar, but it just lost that little bit.
It's the voice actor was not able to pull the humor that Robin Williams can with just his voice.
He wasn't able to match the energy either. Some of the jokes and comments would have been good and delivered by Robin, but there was just that little bit of something in how the character was being portrayed at that point that was just lost. And that just goes to show how special of a talent Robin Williams was, because he could take any character, even when he played a fucking psychopath. He brought something to the character that no one else was able to.
Death to Smoochie.
Not just that, I was also thinking, what was it, 2-hour video? 2-hour photo?
Yeah, it's 1 hour photo.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Something like
that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. How many actors that start as a stand-up comedian are able to have the bevy of different roles and types of characters that he's played that Robin has? Mm-hmm. The only one that I can think of that comes close is Jim Carrey. And Carrey he couldn't quite pull off the bad guy in the same way that Robin could.
I think it comes down to, again, the fact that Carrie is more of a method actor and Robin is more of a, or was a actor who would be like, okay, tell me what you want. Okay, let me see how I can work with it. And a lot of his movies and shows, you know, especially if he brings in humor, it's his one-liners are just that. They're off script and one-liners. You know, he was it Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, Goodwill Hunting. When he's reading the letter at the end of the movie or wherever that is, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. But when he's reading that letter, he makes a comment at the end of it or whatever as he's reading it. And that was completely unscripted, and they're all like, "Whoa, we're keeping that."
Well, and not just that scene. Earlier in the movie, where it's just Robin and Damon sitting in his office, and he's talking about his late where Robin's character is talking about his late wife, and the whole farting story. That whole thing made up on the spot, ad lib by Robin Williams, and it made it into the movie. That's why an actor of that quality, a person of that level of creativity and ability, is truly something special. And what's sad is we very often don't get to realize it until it's too late. And a lot of actors who have that potential often don't have a career long enough for one reason or another to be able to show that range. And then there are some who we get those instances, but a lot of the general viewing audience doesn't put it all together until that person has passed away or retired, and then looking back at the body of work that they've done, and then it hits them. There are very few awards that are given out that I believe are legit for who they're given to, when they're given to, and all that. There is a lot of politicking when it comes to who's actually winning the Oscars and the Golden Globes and all that stuff. The majority of those awards are purely political and not actually about the ability or performance of the people nominated. But your Lifetime Achievement Awards, if you look back through the history of all of those ones actually tend to be genuine and actually stand on the merits of who they're honoring and what they actually did.
With that too, you have so many people trying to emulate the others rather than actually being their own.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And while, as the saying goes, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, be your own person. Like, show that you are able to come up with something on your own, that you're able to do something that maybe no one else can do. And this is where something that came up before we went on air. I will give Pete Davidson one bit of positive reaction and praise for. He really capitalized on being able to convey the aloof, ignorant, dumbass youngster that actually got him a lot of notoriety when he first started to get the mainstream. I will give him credit for that. But he's one of those actors before that is stuck because I've seen him attempt other character types, and it doesn't work. I don't think he has the range to do other types of characters well.
I was just scrolling through Robin Williams' filmography. I didn't realize that he was in an episode of Law and Order SVU.
I can see the character, I just can't remember the circumstances.
Yeah, it's an episode called Authority. He was Merritt Rook. I've never watched it, so I don't know.
I used to watch SVU quite often, but interests move on.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at what he's doing. You know, he was in Night of the Museum. He was in August Rush. He was in an episode of SpongeBob as himself. Happy Feet. He was on Wilfred.
Yep.
I mean, and that's just fairly recent before he passed.
And didn't he also do a version of Flubber?
Yeah, he was the Nutty Professor in that. He was Peter Pan in Hook,
which was actually a good re-envisioning of that story and progressing it in a way.
I forgot about that one. Awakenings. Have you ever seen that movie?
Awakenings.
Hold on, I'll pull up IMDb here.
Yeah, I don't remember it by title.
It's a 1990s film with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that was actually one of his earlier more dramatic roles.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing that one. I haven't seen it in ages.
Forever.
Yeah. But I remember that actually being a good movie. And it actually showed that Robin Williams was capable of doing more than just comedy.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing it in school. And I think it was because he did Dead Poets that kind of helped get him into that,
Oh, yeah, he was in that too. And that's where I want the newer generation of actors and actresses to be able to showcase what they're capable of. But at the same time, the studio's gotta be willing to take the chance. And back to what you were saying before, Jay, we're getting a lot of the rehashes and everything because the studios in general are more taking the safe bet now to try to make sure that they are making at least some money on every project, instead of letting a good story be told. Because let's be honest, if you tell a good story, if you put a good film together, people are going to watch it.
And just again, looking through some of his stuff, say what you will about his portrayal of Jack Powell in the movie Jack, where he's aging rapidly, as a kid.
Yeah.
That same year, he also was in The Birdcage.
Oh God! In his oh, that fantastic movie.
Exactly.
And look at the cast in that movie too.
Nathan Lane. Who else? Who is the son? Let me find that again. Birdcage. Oh, it was also it had Gene Hackman in it. Diane West. West. Callista Flockhart.
Yep.
Dan Futterman, I think, was the son. Hank Azaria.
No, there was another actor that I think was in it, and I'm trying to remember his name. I can see the face, but God, and that was in '96.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago.
No, that song came out in '99. Oh, it had Jay Leno in it, uncredited. Don Monfontaine, the movie trailer voice guy, as the radio announcer.
Christine Baranski. That's not
Yeah.
God, who is the actor that I'm trying to think of? And wait, what was it? That was Icarus. Okay, no, I have not seen Adam Project, but Patch Adams was a good movie.
The wife wants to sit down and watch that on Monday, the Adam Project. It looks interesting if you haven't seen the trailer for it.
I have not. So give a quick ish as much as you can thing.
From what I've grasped of the trailer is basically it's time travel wrapped up with video games, wrapped up with a lot of intense like spy fighting, like the Spy Kids style, fighting that the movies are known for. It's got Ryan Reynolds and Zoe Uhura. Zoe's
Zoe Saldana.
yeah. And it looks fun.
Oh, and the actor that I was thinking of that I thought was in that movie, but he wasn't, was Kevin Kline.
That's a name you haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, because he's actually still active. But so let's see, he's actually a consistent voice actor on Bob's Burgers. As
That doesn't surprise me actually.
What else has he been?
I got it pulled up here too.
Yeah, there's really not much that. The last few years, he really hasn't done much of anything.
Oh, the Tale of
There's some
Despero.
scandals and bullshit there too.
That was a good one.
Which one?
The Tales of Despero. It's an animated.
Yeah, I
movie.
never saw it.
He basically plays the voice of a mouse. Or no, who does he play? He plays the chef. Let's see if I can pull up an image of it. Yeah, it's the chef character.
Oh, that one is quite the cast too. Matthew Broderick, Emma Watson, Tracy Ullman, Dustin Hoffman, William H. Macy, Stanley Tucci, Robbie Coltrane,
Frank Langella,
Christopher
Do you
Lloyd.
remember that one time when Matthew Broderick killed a guy in England and then fled to the US who couldn't be charged for it?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Vehicular manslaughter, as far as I remember.
Bronson Pinchot is a voice in that one too. God, Belky. Gotta love that character. It's sad that that's really all he's known for anymore. That and the gay hairdresser in Step by Step.
Yeah.
This is in the most fucking American way too. He was driving on the right or on the wrong side of the road and hit two people in Northern Ireland.
Well, that sucks. And, and here's fun one with the guy who has quite the long filmography that a lot of people actually don't recognize the name. but recognize the face with one of the roles that he played. And that is Syrian Hines from Belfast. Most people recognize him from Rome. That started in 2005 because he played Caesar. But then when you look at everything else that he's done, it's like, wait, that was him? Wait a minute, he was in that? Wait, he was in that?
Oh, what? It wasn't Rome that I knew him from. What was it that I knew him from? That.
Well, so he was also in Game of Thrones as Mance Rayder.
It was
John Carter of Mars.
no.
Tardos Moors.
Oh, it was before that. Phantom of the Opera. I did see that. That was actually pretty good. Lara Croft Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life. Jonathan Rhys.
Yeah.
Also, Some of All Fears. One of the worst. Morgan
Jack
Freeman
Ryan.
movies. No, one of the worst Morgan Freeman movies ever, but probably the best Ben Affleck movie. Sorry.
That is saying something.
Well, when you look at it, like for Morgan Freeman, that is he went down to take that job, in my opinion. And Ben Affleck got a huge jump. I mean, Ben Affleck had been working, but he's been always in those, cheeky, clerk style movies, style wise.
Yeah. And
Oh, Rules of Engagement. I remember that.
yeah. But there has been no response from the wonderful Aiden, which I have to say, not surprised.
Yeah.
What wasn't holding my breath, but hey, maybe this will open the door for something later on. But it is about that time to stuff my face before prepping everything for the next show, which
If we do it right, it can be an hour.
40. Yeah, I was thinking 45 minutes to an hour, depending on when people will actually be available. You know what? Fuck it. Let's call it an hour. So we're going to take an hour break, dinner, relax, bathroom, all that happy, fun horse shit. And then we will be back on air for VTW. And, oh boy, I see this going so many places. And I'm not sure how many of them can be considered good.
She is one well-endowed lady. I'd like to get my hands on her ample nacelles, if you'll pardon the engineering parlance.
Well,
Had to get the token Star Trek in there.
yeah, but can you really blame them, though?
Nope.
No, I didn't think so either. So with that, we will see you all in an hour, and we are going to let the fun of the weekend continue as we bring even more unhinged assholes onto the panel. What bad could happen then? I guess we'll find out.